Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, today I'm excited to share a card with you using a new stamp set from C&CT Stamp. This is part of their Dream Big release, and to celebrate the brand new Dream Big release, the card that I'm creating is for a blog hop, and I think you should join in the fun. This is day 2 of the Dream Big release blog hop, and lots of inspiration using so many different items in the release. And leave the blog link down below if you want to head on over and check it out. But this stamp set was super fun. It's a large 6x8 stamp set. It's called Take Note, but I love this because, first of all, I like note cards. Note cards are nice for just because, and that's the great thing about these larger sentiments. You have take note, just a note, and you have mental note. I make lots of those. But you get the spiral bookbinding or the spiral edge that is pretty long, and you could make a continuous edge if you wanted to make a scrapbook page. That's pretty fabulous. Along with the ruler, you get a 7-inch ruler, and I think this is scaled to size actually. So if you need a ruler, you could stamp one. That's pretty cool. And you put this on, I bet this would fit on a slimline card too. Might be a little bit short for a slimline, but definitely a mini slimline. The nice thing about the set is, I'm raving about the stamp set, but it's nice because note cards are very popular, and 2, it's great for teachers, for office or co-workers, and also for your crafty friends. A little bit of everything in here. This image right here is just one piece, so you would need to break out your stamping positioner to stamp this. But you can layer these extra pieces on top for dimension, and there is probably, I don't have it, but I'm pretty sure there's a coordinating die set that will die cut out these, so it makes it pretty fabulous. And there's also secondary sentiments that go with the larger sentiments, like I think you're awesome, you're incredible, you rock, you'll do great, I believe in you. So just I think this is a great versatile stamp set, and I look for that when I pick up stamp sets. I'm going to make one card today, but I actually made 2. The second card is over on my blog if you want to check it out. I'll put the link down below. I'm also going to be using a 3-piece stencil set from Simon. Simon's been creating some awesome 3-piece stencil set. This kind of has a geometric design to it, but it's layered. You can see, so this one be pretty on its own. And then you get some of these squares, and then you also get this. So you layer all 3 of these together to create a real fun pattern, and that's what we're going to do today with this. I'm not sure of the name of the stencil, but I will be listed down below in the description area if you like this, and over my blog too. So let's jump in and create a card. Today's card is going to be really easy. When there's layering, first of all, should we stencil first or should we stamp first? We're going to stamp first. I just want to stamp a couple pencils. So let's go ahead and stamp in color. Okay. And I'll use my Memento ink, and we're going to stamp this just a couple of times. And again, I'm almost can guarantee that there's a coordinating die set for this. Okay, and then I'm also going to, I do want to stamp one more image. I'm going to stamp the paper clip. I'm going to stamp on some white cardstock here. And then while we're stamping, we'll grab the Take Note. I'm going to put this on an acrylic block, but I'm going to switch out inks. I'm going to use my VersaFine ink, and instead of stamping on white cardstock, I trimmed down a 2x2 piece of yellow cardstock. To me, this reminded me of a Post-it note, just a little bit smaller. This is actually a 2x2 inch square, and it will fit my Take Note beautifully. I'm going to stamp this on the bottom. And we're going to kind of emulate a Post-it note. How cute is that? Nice and bold. I love this. This is going to take a little time to dry. And otherwise, I'm going to put it up here. Otherwise, I'm going to smear it. While I color in my pencils, I'm going to play a little bit of music. It's not going to take too long. But when I'm done coloring, I will be right back. After my pencils are all done, I'm going to take my panel and we're going to fussy cut out each of our... So our fussy cutting is all done. Now while we have our pencils out, I should have did this before I fussy cut, but I'm going to stamp some more sentiments on our pencils. Let's see. Let's tack these down to our cardstock so they don't move. After I tacked these down to my cardstock, this was kind of an afterthought, but I thought it'd be cool if we have take note on our little post-it. So I thought we'd continue the sentiment by stamping "You Rock," and I'm going to stamp it on the pencil. Now I went ahead and stamped my sentiment on my pencils, and I think they just barely fit. I'm going to go ahead and take them off of that paper. I'll put this aside, and then we can create our background. Before we do that, I'm going to flip over my yellow pencil, and I'm going to crisscross it. Let me see. I think I'm going to crisscross it like so. I might change it, but I'm going to set this aside along with my little paper clip. And speaking of my paper clip, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to take that paper clip image, and I wanted to pop this note up, but I wanted to paper clip on it, and obviously you can't put, to me that kind of looks a little bit funny. So what I'm going to do is to take my ink, actually let's use VersaFine, and then we'll take our paper clip, ink this up, and I'm going to stamp this I think that's a good spot. And then what I'm going to do next is flip around my little note card, add adhesive, and then I'm going to take my paper clip and I'm going to line it up so it looks continuous, and I'm going to tack it down. Now this looks half and half and it looks kind of funny, but bear with me because we're going to put this on a white binder page. To create my post-it or my binder edge, I'm going to take a large acrylic block, and in our stamp set there's that binder edge. I'm going to take that, I'm going to pick it up. Of course you can use your stamping positioner, but I think this is going to work out just fine. And I'll ink up my binder edge, my spiral binding. I think this is so neat. And I'll press down real good. And how cool is that? Doesn't it look like a notebook page? So neat. And then see our take note where we added that white paper clip. When you put it on here, it's just, and give it dimension, it's just going to flow right. At least to my eye, it's just going to flow right better. But I do want to round the corner, so I'm going to break out my corner rounder. And we're going to round the corner here. Sometimes these little EK Success corner rounders are nice, because you don't, I'm not going to worry about this because this end's going to overlap on my card base. Okay, so we're going to, since this is VersaFine, it's going to take a little bit of time to dry. I'll put this up there with my take notes, and we're going to work on our background. So I have my 6x6 piece of cardstock. Each one of the stencils here is indexed on the bottom. It doesn't have a name, but it has a number, and I'm making sure that number is facing all the way to the right of my panel. And then I'm going to just put this from corner to corner. It looks like the stencil is a little bit bigger than a 6x6. If you were to center it, you can get it perfect, but I'm just going to go corner to corner. For me, that's always easier. It's easier to line up this corner. Now I have my first piece, and we're going to use some inks here. I haven't used my blending tools in a while, so I'm going to use those. But I'm going to pick up some of my squeezed lemonade, and I think I need a craft mat. Okay, and I'm going to go over my stencil with my squeezed lemonade. Okay, I'm going to take a towel, and I'm going to wipe off my stencil. I always think it's easier to do that on my panel. And then I'm going to take this stencil, and remember that index is right here on the right. I'm going to flip it around and do a 180 and put this back in that corner, in that L shape. And then I'm going to take Twisted Citron, and we're going to go over this. Now you don't have to do this, but I wanted an extra color for my background. For the extra card that I made for the blog hop today, I didn't do this extra step, but you know, I like to switch things up a bit. So we have Twisted Citron on there, and again, I'll just take my towel and wipe it off. That's our first layer, and I think this looks pretty cool. And that's just with this one. How cool is that? Kind of looks like lemons or limes, or half and half. Now what we're going to do is take this stencil, and I didn't put pixie spray behind here. I don't think we need it, but I'm going to lightly put this in the corner. And my next color is going to be Salty Ocean. And I'm going to hold it down and just go over those squares on here. When I do this too, my towel's just got a little bit of dampness to it, so it does pick up a little bit of that ink. But this creates a pretty cool pattern. Very kind of 3D-ish. Now so that's just two stencils so far. Now I'm going to take this more delicate piece. We'll line this up. I'll tack that down to my panel. And of course my panel is bigger, but the nice thing is once you create a 6x6 panel like this, you have extra. I'm going to take my Kitsch Flamingo, and we're going to go over. So we got 4 colors, 3 stencils, and let's lift this up. And that creates a really neat pattern. Now all of our elements are done. We can build a card now. I do want to do stamping with that ruler, but we're going to put this on our cardstock first. We're going to trim down our panel with our paper trimmer, and I'm going to trim it down to, let's see, we'll go 1/2 inch. So we're going to go to 3 3/4 inches. Okay, then I'm going to flip it around. We're going to trim this down to 5.5 inches. Now I'm going to flip this around. We're going to put this on our card base, which is a standard A2 size card base. And this is going to fit the full length of my card, and it's going to leave me 1/2 inch on this side over here. And that is the perfect amount of space to stamp. I'm going to tack closed my card, but that's a perfect space for a ruler. For my notebook, I flipped it. For my notebook, I'm going to add some foam. It's a larger surface area. And so, oh, and I'm out of tape. Maybe we can finish off the card without getting another refill. And so we have foam adhesive behind here. And then I'm going to, now I'm going to use, since I ran out of tape, I'm going to use my glue. And I'm going to go ahead and add some glue behind my panel. And I want this to overhang a little bit. I'm going to flip my panel around and we're going to trim off the overhanging part. And then we're going to add our take note. This is where, remember we did the paper clip where we put that white on the back where it kind of looks funny, but when you add it to your notebook, it kind of really looks like a paper clip. If you wanted to heat emboss that with silver, I bet it would look just, we could probably fool the recipient. But I'm going to use some brand new 3D foam squares from Simon. Nice thing about these is there is not a lot of dimension to them. These are actually, I would say, half the width of that foam adhesive that I used. So I have I Think You're Awesome and You Rock, and we're going to kind of crisscross it on our notebook. And then that will complete my card today. Pretty fun card, I think. I do want to share with you the card that I made using the same stamp set. I created the same yellow pencil. I fussy cut out just a note and then added one of my flower dies here and put the binding edge on top. You know how there's all kinds of different patterned binders, or I call it a binder, but a notebook. But isn't it so much fun? So cute. But thank you for joining me, guys. Have a wonderful day. I hope you can head on over to the blog hop, the links down below. We will see you soon. Bye-bye.